Hey guys, welcome to today's video and welcome on into my beauty stash. I have new BH Cosmetics to share with you guys today. I picked up their latest addition to the Travel Series collection, which includes one face palette and it includes 5 different quads, eyeshadow quads. This is the first time BH Cosmetics has dropped a new release since announcing their bankruptcy filing, which was almost a year ago. So as you guys know, Makeup Revolution has acquired BH Cosmetics. I am very curious to see how these palettes are going to perform, if it's going to be BH Cosmetics quality or if it's going to be Makeup Revolution quality. I am not a fan of Makeup Revolution. I think I enjoy some of their complexion products more than I do like their eyeshadow palettes. I haven't met one that I really like yet, but I love BH Cosmetics. I've been using BH Cosmetics for many years, long before I was here on YouTube, and I was so sad when they announced their bankruptcy, but I'm happy to see they're still around. They're trying to put out new merchandise, and I am here to try it out for you guys. The eyeshadow quads retail for $7, and you can find them right now on the BH Cosmetics website. This is on the US website. Not too sure if this has gone over to Europe yet. And the face palette, I believe this one is $8. So here we have Cabo. This is the face palette that's supposed to represent Cabo because they all represent obviously a different travel destination. This next one is a eyeshadow quad, and this represents Egypt. Next we have Malibu. Next we have the only one that came broken, that shade right there. This is Iceland. Here is Mykonos. And finally we have Miami. So guys, I have a lot of the Travel Series palettes. I don't have them all, but I've been doing my homework. I've been looking to see, okay, these quads definitely don't look like brand new shades. For me, in my opinion, I see a lot of those shades in their pre-existing Travel Series palette. So we're going to do some comparisons towards the end of the video. I'm going to show you what I think you might already have if you have these larger 16 pan Travel Series palettes, meaning you might not really need to pick up any of these quads, especially if the quality is not going to be that great. If it is your first time watching one of my videos, first and foremost, hello and welcome. My name is Steff. I think you picked a very good video to tune into today. I love doing new makeup reviews, so you will always see the latest and greatest in makeup reviews, multiple looks with eyeshadow palettes. I am creating 3 looks with the 5 eyeshadow palettes today, and I also do makeup ranking videos. If all of that sounds great to you and you want to see my videos on pretty much a daily basis, because I do tend to upload quite a bit, do me a favor and click on the subscribe button and hit the bell next to it. That way you'll be notified every time I do drop a new video. I tend to upload in the evenings during the week, and on the weekend it's, you know, whenever I can, whenever I have time. And if you like this video, if you're excited for new BH Cosmetics, give this video a thumbs up. As usual, all the makeup that I'm using, both on and off camera, will be linked and listed in the description box. Some of those links might be affiliate links, so if you do end up shopping through them, I thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. Let's get ready for new BH Cosmetics. If you want to see the new quads in the Travel Series collection in action, keep on watching. Okay guys, so first we're gonna put some color on this complexion. So I'm gonna go in with the Cabo palette. To me it looks like we have 2 bronzers, a blush, and a highlighter. So that's the way I'm going to use this palette. I'm gonna start off first, I'm gonna go in with a darker bronzer. I'm gonna focus out on the forehead, and then I think I'll use the lighter one for the sides of my face, my cheekbones, and a little bit down my nose. And I am using the BH Cosmetics Aquamarine brush. Now, there was a brush set released in this collection. I didn't pick it up just because I have a lot of BH Cosmetics brushes and I do recommend them. BH Cosmetics, they've always made really good brushes. I've had so many of their collections in my stash for years. There's a little pencil brush you guys see me use all the time when I create my eye looks, and it is from one of the OG BH Cosmetics collections. And it's held up so well. I've washed it, spot cleaned it. Great. So definitely recommend. I think Ulta still has some of their brush sets available. And of course, you still can find brush sets on the BH Cosmetics website and on Beauty Bay, because Beauty Bay does sell BH Cosmetics. Love that bronzer. I always like to do a little bit of a darker bronzer on my forehead just because I feel like I have a pretty big forehead, so it can take it. Now I'm gonna get a smaller brush, also from BH Cosmetics. This one is the Emerald brush, and we're gonna go into the lighter shade. My hair is a hot mess, guys. I took time this morning, I curled it, then went outside for like 5 minutes. No joke, 5 minutes. And yeah, half of the curl was all gone. This is the best I could do at the moment. All right, so in my opinion, so far, this quad has pigment. It's easy to blend, easy to work with, and it definitely feels like the original BH Cosmetics formula. It doesn't feel like they've tweaked with this formula. So I'd say we're off to a really good start. Fingers crossed that the shadows are gonna be that amazing BH Cosmetics quality as well. All right, now I'm gonna go in with another BH Cosmetics brush. I'm gonna try and use a lot of BH Cosmetics brushes just because I'm really excited. This one is the Diamond brush, and we're gonna go into this shade right here. Ooh, okay. Let me know if you've been to Cabo. I was in Cabo about 3 years ago. Lots of fun, lots of things to do. And this blush is blending with the bronzer beautifully. All right, now we're gonna go in with the highlighter next. Another BH Cosmetics brush. I forget which collection this one is from. I think it was from the Sweet Shop collection. I don't know if I think it's that one. Actually, no, I think this is from one of the festival collections. All right, so I feel this highlighter is a little subtle. I always thought that BH Cosmetics did a beautiful job with their highlighters. They were always so blinding. And I know not everybody likes a blinding highlighter. So if you don't want a blinding highlighter, I think this is definitely going to be for you. I mean, it's cute. You know, I think if you maybe sprayed your face first with some setting spray, then you would get a little bit more payoff. But, you know, it works. It goes with the palette. And so far, I think we're off to a good start. So Cabo is going to get a thumbs up from me. Okay, so now we're going to start creating the first of 3 eye looks. And I just want to hold up the Miami and Malibu palettes next to each other. I mean, I feel like they're nice complements, but a little too similar for me. So I think I will incorporate both of these together. And I might do Iceland by itself maybe, and then use Mykonos and Egypt together. So let's start working with these first. Like, this is more of like a pastel moment over here. So I think what I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna go in with the Malibu palette and the shade right here. Are there shade names? No, there's no shade name. So the lightest shade in the Malibu palette. Okay guys, moment of truth. I'm using a BH Cosmetics brush. Let's see. Okay, so I don't see a lot of payoff with this shade. I mean, but it is light, so I guess it does look like itself in the pan. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I do have the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer on. That's my favorite eyeshadow primer. Okay, so let's leave that as is. I'm gonna go into the Miami palette, and I'm gonna go in with this shade, same brush. Okay, so 2 very light shades to start off with. That's fine, that's fine. Now in a BK8502, going back into the Miami palette. Okay, I see the shade. I don't feel like it's that bright. There it is in the pan, the darker pink. But again, this is more of a pastel palette, so okay, I don't want to get worried yet. Okay, I'm getting a little bit worried. I feel like it kind of looks patchy too. All right, so let me go into the Malibu. This shade. Maybe it's just because they're just light shades. Yeah, that's not even showing up. Let's try the shimmer shade. Maybe we'll have better luck with that one. I'm gonna get my Morphe M124. I am gonna spray it. I'm really digging into the pan. You're definitely gonna want to spray. This is more of like, I guess, a traditional shimmer that's not gonna have like a lot of payoff. But BH always had a good shimmer formula. I don't like the way that looks at all. I'm gonna go in with my Refer 13 and this shade. I'm gonna use that right in here in the crease. And guys, I forgot, BH Cosmetics did have a release, a couple of releases actually at the beginning of the year, but it was over in Europe. I mean, it went to Beauty Base, so I was able to try it. It was like the Sun palette, the Moon palette, and the Lunar New Year palette, which out of those three, the Lunar New Year was the best. But like this is kind of reminding me of the Moon and the Sun palette. I am not liking this at all. Okay, so in both palettes, we have the same like peach shade right here. I'm just gonna swatch them real quick. Okay, like they're identical. So I guess what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna use this one. This one is in the Miami palette. I'm gonna start with that on the lower lash line. Okay, that barely shows up. Let me try the other one that's in Malibu. Okay, so there's only one shade I haven't used, and it's this green one. This one is in the Malibu palette. So I'm going to spray the brush. This is a Refer 26. It's not intense. It's a pastel palette. Maybe that's why. Ugh, I cannot stand the way this looks. Okay, guys, I've used every single shade, so I'm gonna try and salvage this look the best I can. Let me do some finishing touches off camera, and I'll be right back to show you the look number one with Malibu and Miami. Okay guys, here's the completed look number one with Malibu and Miami. The mascara I'll be using in today's video is Maybelline Sky High Mascara. For the top lash line, I lined with the Shop Miss A Artista eyeliner in the shade Purple. And for the lower waterline, I used this one from e.l.f. This is one of their new shades in the No Budge Shadow Stick. And the shade is called Groovy. I can never see, it's hard for me to see the shade name down here, but not my best look. A little bit worried, I'll be honest. The face palette, Cabo palette, started off great, but Miami and Malibu just kind of fell really short. So now I think I'm going to be working with Egypt and Mykonos. So let's start look number two. All right, so here they are. Mykonos is at the top and Egypt is at the bottom. This is more of like a cool tone, I think. And these are definitely more warm tone. Again, really similar shades. The gold up here is just a little bit lighter than the gold down here. But then it also kind of looks like this one, so we'll see. I think I'll leave the cool tone brown. I don't know if I'll get to use it, but I'm gonna start first with the Egypt palette, and I'll go in with the shade first. I'm taking this on a Refer 16. All right, well, that's a nice neutral. This is a good transition shade. This shade is performing just fine. Now on a Refer 14, I'm going to go in with a darker brown, also from the Egypt palette. That's a nice brown too. Okay, so this Egypt palette is performing. This feels like the BH Cosmetics formula too. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. All right, now I'm going to go into Mykonos, and I'm going to use the light gold shade on the lid. I'm going to start in the inner corner. Then I think I'll use the one in the Egypt palette. Oh, that's pretty. I feel like you really have to press into the shimmer, though, when you're getting it out of the pan. These definitely feel like more traditional shimmers, not like sparkly shimmers. Now I'm going to go in with the shade in the Egypt palette. This is a Morphe M124. Again, I did spray it. Yeah, so like on the eye, there's not a major difference in the shades. They're not intense. I'm going to add a little bit more of the dark brown from the Egypt palette. Now for the lower lash line, I'm going to do a combination of the blue shades in Mykonos. So I'm going to start first with the matte blue. I'm using a Refer 26. It's a pretty blue. Oh, I like this blue a lot. I love the combination of blue and brown together. I think it's so, so pretty. Okay, now same brush, I'm going to pick up the shimmer, the blue shimmer. I'm going to spray it. Start applying towards the inner portion. Again, with these shimmers, you're really going to have to like dig into the palette. Let me just swatch it on. Now I'm going to go back into Egypt with this lighter shade for the inner corner, using a damp Refer 03. Okay guys, I'm going to take care of the finishing touches off camera. I'll be right back to show you this look with Mykonos and Egypt. Okay guys, here's the completed look number 2 with Egypt and Mykonos. This is definitely my favorite of the two looks. I felt that these shadows did perform a little bit better than, well, actually no, a lot better than the Malibu and Miami palette. And maybe that's just because those are pastel palettes and I'm just not a huge fan of pastels, but still I feel like this look is a little more patchy. This look is patchy when compared to this one. This is a little more put together. And I like it. I like the way this look turned out. For the top lash line, I went in with Flower Beauty Winged Liner in the shade Dark and Stormy. For the lower waterline, one from Juvia's Place. This is their Nubian eyeliner in the shade Royal. Love it. Love blue and brown together. I think it looks really pretty. The shimmers are not very impactful. Like, they don't have a lot of sparkle to them. They're just more traditional shimmers. So if that's what you like, so far, these two palettes, Egypt and Mykonos, you might want to put them on your wish list. Now, I have one more palette to try out for you guys today, and it is the Iceland palette. This is definitely the more cool tone palette, and I think I'll be able to use this shade that I didn't get to use in the Mykonos palette. So far, that's the only shade I haven't used out of these palettes. So let me go ahead and remove this look, and I'll be right back, and we'll start creating our final look with Mykonos and Iceland. All right, guys, so let's start working on look number 3. Man, that purple eyeliner from Shop Miss A, that has some sticking power. So what I think I'm going to do, again, both of these palettes, and I need to be careful with this one because it has that broken shade, but like this palette and Mykonos, they both have that same like taupey brown. Oh, you know what? The Iceland one has a bit of a shimmer to it. This is the Iceland one, and then this one is the Mykonos one. So I guess I'm going to go in with the Mykonos brown first. I'll do that in the crease, and we'll go from there. So I'm using a Refer 16. Okay, I think this is a nice shadow. It's definitely cool toned. I know a lot of you out there, you love your cool tone shadows. Okay, so next I'm going to go into Iceland, and I'm going to go in with this black shade. This one also looks like it's a bit of a satin or maybe more of like a sequin shade. I'm going to take that on a Refer 13. This Iceland quad kind of reminds me of a quad I used to have from Lancome many years ago. And I love that quad so much. It's just so pretty and very good for like evening looks, and it was one of my favorites for so long. Yeah, definitely getting fallout from that. Just flicking it out. That's okay. I mean, it's not matte black. It's not black. Like, it's just a smoky gray. And you really don't even see the little bit of shimmer that it has. So kind of just treat it as a matte, the way I'm doing it. Okay, so now on a damp Morphe M124, I'm going in with the Broken shadow from Iceland. That's pretty. See, I think this has some more payoff and more impact than the other ones do. All right, so now I'm gonna go in with this shade. Same brush, I did spray it. All right, now I'm gonna go in with this shade right here in Iceland. This is the last shade that I have to use out of all these palettes. I am gonna spray it. I'm going in with a Refer 26. We're gonna have a very light lower lash line. Definitely a lot of fallout, and there is a lot of kick up in the pan. Okay guys, I'm gonna do the finishing touches off camera, and I'll be right back to show you this third and final look. Okay guys, so here's the completed look number 3. Wet n Wild Breakup Proof for the top lash line, and for the lower waterline, I went in with this one from Moira. This is their Eye Exposure Pencil. It's in the shade Peach. I just really wanted to keep a light lower lash line, and this is the look. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Let me go ahead and wrap up today's video, share with you my thoughts on this new release from BH Cosmetics, as well as give you some comparisons to what you might already have in your stash. Okay guys, so after creating 3 looks, after using the face palette, the verdict is pass. You don't need these. You don't need these. There's nothing groundbreaking here. The formula is just mediocre at best. It is not the same, in my opinion, the same BH Cosmetics formula that we've come to love in the other travel series palettes. I mean, they were on a roll, BH Cosmetics, and I think it took a lot of us by surprise when they announced their bankruptcy last year. And I mean, I'm glad they're still around, but at the same time, right now it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same. And when that Moon and Sun palette dropped earlier this year, again, I feel like the quality of those shadows, which I didn't like those by the way, but the quality of those palettes is similar to what you're getting in these palettes. I will say, and I'm going to rank them all for you, I did enjoy using the Cabo palette, the face palette, but you know, I mean, it's nice. It's a nice little travel palette. It's like $8. It is bigger than the other ones. You can kind of see a little bit of size difference here. The highlighter shade is just, it's just there. It's not intense. It's a very light highlighter. It's not what I'm used to from BH Cosmetics. So I would say I did like this one. I can see myself using this. Maybe not so much the highlighter, but definitely the 2 bronzer shades and the blush shade. I think they worked perfectly on my fair to light skin tone. Out of the eyeshadow palettes, okay, so I think my top one is going to be Mykonos. I love, again, blue and brown together. I like that that's a cool tone brown. And while I didn't get to use this brown in the Mykonos look, I still use it over here. That's what I have on the lower lash line. I thought this was a pretty decent palette. It's a nice palette. I do love those blues. Next up, I would give it to Iceland. I thought this was a really pretty color story, as is Mykonos. Unfortunately, mine came broken, but you know, these shades are pretty good. This is a nice little palette if you want to do something for the evening, you're going out to dinner, or just during the day too. I mean, whatever you want. I thought this was, you know, a nice little neutral palette. I also thought that Egypt performed pretty good too. Again, just very basic, very basic. The shimmers are not very intense. They're just like traditional shimmer shadows, but you know, I guess if you're in need of a very neutral palette, something to, maybe you're gonna keep it at work or just keep it in the car. I mean, for $7, you know, these three quads I think would be worth checking out. I really did not like Malibu and Miami equally. I think the worst one for me was probably Miami. I hated the shimmer shadow. Like, it was just, no, the pinks were just too light. This shadow was redundant in Malibu. I mean, I think in this palette, the green was probably the best one, but no, I would definitely pass on these palettes. If you're looking for a pastel palette that works great, that's beautiful, and that's less than $20, look at the Juvia's Place Garden of Juvia's palette. I think that's under $20. If it's not, it's under $25, $22, something like that. But Juvia's Place is always having sales. Garden of Juvia's is an amazing pastel palette, and that's coming from me that I don't like a lot of pastel palettes. So what I want to do next is I want to give you guys comparisons, because immediately when I saw these palettes released, I'm like, we already have that. Like, I have that in my other travel series palettes, in particular Miami and Malibu. So right away, what I thought of with Miami and Malibu was, where is it? The Lost in Los Angeles palette. So this is the pastel palette of the bunch, the pastel palette of the travel series collection. That palette came out like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. I know I have a review on it, but I'm gonna hold up Miami and Malibu, and here is Lost in Los Angeles. I mean, you don't need these if you already have this one. And this one performs better than these shadows do, in my opinion. Now, for the Mykonos quad, I don't have the palette that I think resembled it, so I'm going to put a picture of it here. This is the Barcelona palette. So I feel like maybe some of these shades in Mykonos, you could find a few of them in Barcelona if you happen to have that one. That's one I didn't pick up. And I don't even know if you could still find this, at least for brand new. Now, as far as Iceland goes, I felt like Iceland was a little similar to the London palette, and I'll put a picture here. I don't have London to compare, and I don't think you can find London brand new anymore, but you can kind of see there's definitely some similarities in that one. Now, I have the Tulum palette, the Tandem Tulum. This is a face palette, and I want to compare it to Cabo because this is they're both Mexico destinations. So here you can see, guys, the major similarities between the two. I mean, I definitely think if you have Tulum, you don't need this one. Yeah, and the shimmers in this one definitely perform better than the shimmer that is in this one. And then as far as the Egypt palette goes, I'm gonna put a picture here of Hawaii and Amalfi. So both of those palettes contain very similar shades to this one. And let's be honest, guys, you probably have this quadrant, you probably have these 4 shades a million times over in your collection. I know if you have the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette, you don't need this one. I mean, that's like a gazillion times better than this one. Okay, guys, so those are my thoughts on this new release from BH Cosmetics. I'll be honest, I'm really disappointed. I was hoping that these were gonna be, first and foremost, the color stories were gonna be a little bit different, because like I said earlier, I feel like we have these. All of these shades exist in the previous travel series palettes. Some of you I know were disappointed that these were quads. I don't mind that these were quads. That's something that BH Cosmetics really didn't do a lot of before. So, you know, there's a time and a place for quad. I don't mind that they were quads. For me, it's definitely the formula. For me, the formula is not there. It is not the amazing formula that we come to love in the travel series palettes, in the Sweet Shop palettes, in the Weekend Vibes palettes. I mean, there was just a lot of good BH Cosmetics out there, and for me, these quads aren't part of that. This feels like a very different formula. It just feels like a mediocre formula, and I don't know. I'm gonna really want to hear your thoughts on this, especially if you ended up picking up these palettes. I'm not gonna recommend them to you guys. I mean, if you want to try them out, I ranked them for you. Maybe you can choose one of the higher ranking palettes, but overall, these are a hard pass. And let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the looks? What did you think of the performance? Is this something, I know you've had your eye on them and you're wondering about the quality. Let me know if this is something that's going to be finding its way into your stash, or if you're just going to pass altogether. I can't wait to get the conversation started on this new drop from BH Cosmetics. I want to thank you guys so much for watching another one of my videos. You all have a great day or night, wherever it is you all are at. Stay hydrated, guys. Drink your water. Cheers. I'll see y'all very soon. Bye.